All right. So we want to make a health bar above this guy's health, and there's a few ways of doing that. Obviously, probably the easiest way of doing it is to do something called a widget component. So a widget component is a way to put a widget sort of in the world, so it will be like, you know, it will be essentially a quad, or a quad, I should say, like a quad that will render the widget onto itself. So we can sort of place it above this guy's head, and it will have like a little health bar above him. So that's one way. It has, like, you know, it's pros and cons, but it's the easiest way. So let's do that. First of all, before we can do that, we need to have a widget to actually place above his head at all. So I'm just going to go into take me to search on worship like a snail. So I'll make a user interface widget blueprint. Oliver, you're always eating. Like every time you're on camera, you're eating. It's awesome. I wanna have that goal. So life as well, just eat always. So I'll make a VVP enemy health bar. Take me to search now, worship like a snail. So I'll do the let's just do progress bar. It's pretty ugly, but it does a job. So I'll drag progress bar from in here, from common. Just drag a progress bar into here. So progress bar is just it's just a rectangle that you can fill. So I can set percent here, and it will go up and down. So, you know, we can set percent from 1 to 0. Pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. So I'll just put that in there. Just smack dab in there. And then let's go into the enemy. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to fuck enemy. Go in here. And then I'll add a widget. Just a widget. There we go. It's just called widgets, which is a bit of a weird name for it, but so here we have it. Very cool. But of course we gotta set the widget class. So here when I click the widget, I'll go to the right here, and then we have widget class here. I say here a lot. So I'll select enemy health bar. Okay. Looks pretty cool. Like maybe I need to compile. Save, compile, save. Okay. Doesn't look like anything. Compile, save, compile, save. No, it says manually redraw. No. Draw desired size. Hello? Hello? I'm confused. Why isn't it working? What if I go out here? What if I play the game? No? Hum. What am I missing? I'm missing something. What if I did a crosshair? But maybe it's huge. No? Why? The crosshair works. Why isn't this working?
Is it tiny or?
Low. I command you to work. What if it's a restart? Fucking shrug emoji. I don't know. They're used very seldom. I'll say that. It's very seldom that we use the widget components in at Hazelight. We usually do just like move the widget on screen to be, you know, at the point where it should be in the world. It's called like a world space widget, I guess. Okay, so let's see now. Take me to Snurch and I'll worship like his name. Why? What do you want from me? What if I add something else to it?
Maybe if you just make the progress bar cover the entire canvas.
Yeah, let's try that. Take me to Snurch. I got it on my head. Let's try that. Whoa! Okay. So what was it, like too small or something? What? I don't know. Something went wrong, I guess. Okay, so we could do that, but it's kind of weird that we have this canvas anyways, because I mean, there's so much unused space right now in this canvas. Like, we're only supposed to be drawing this little guy, and we're using like a whole fucking canvas to do that. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so instead I'm actually gonna remove the canvas. I'm gonna replace that with something called a size box instead. So I'm just gonna replace with why isn't it here? Okay, fucking whatever then. I'll use drag it in. So I'll do size here. So just drag in a size box here. Touch it to that. And then I'll remove. So to remove a child here, I'll just do replace with child, and that just removes it. So a size box is another type of container, sort of like a canvas, but the difference between a size box and a canvas is, well, a lot of things. First of all, I can't drag this around, right? I can't just like freely drag around progress bar and set the size or anything. If I look here, there's no settings for setting the size of the progress bar. Rather, the size box sort of decides what is the size I should be, me and my children. What is the size me and my children should be? That's what the size box decides. And if I click on the size box here, we can see that we have a bunch of settings here for the size box. We have width override, height override, desired, and a bunch of weird stuff. So this is a better way to do it if you just want to have make like an individual widget that's not like the whole widget is not supposed to be on screen. It's sort of just that one part of the screen, like something like a progress bar or a button or anything else that you can place it on the screen, but it's not supposed to cover the whole screen. Then it's usually better to make a size box and define in the size box how big you kind of want this widget to be. So then when you do place it in a canvas or you do place it on the screen somewhere, then it will take its desired size that you sort of want the button or progress bar or health bar to be. So I'm just gonna, instead of doing fill screen here on the widget in the widget screen, I'm gonna change that to be desired instead. So what this means is that on the screen in this editor here, it's gonna take the size that the widget is desiring to be. And that's, desired, you can sort of see it as how big does the widget want to be. It can be bigger and it can be smaller. But if it was up to the widget, this is the size it wants to be. And by default, it's just nothing, right? So if you just have nothing on here, the size box, I haven't checked anything here, the desired size is essentially 0. It's a little bit, it's probably padding or something. Padding going on here. But still, it's very small. So you probably want this to be a little bit bigger. So in the size box, I'm just going to go in and set a width and height override. So I'm going to set this to be, 100 maybe, as width, and then you can see, okay, so now the desired size of this widget became 100 in the X direction, and then I'll use set height override to be maybe like 50. Yeah, something, maybe a little bit wider actually. Let's do 200. There we go. So now the desired size of this widget is 200 by 50, and that's decided by this size box. Like, there's a billion ways to set the desired size, but by far the easiest one is to use a size box. It will just directly set the desired size of its children. It's okay if it's kind of weird and doesn't really make sense. It's fine. You will learn it as you go, and you just have to work with widgets a lot to sort of get an intuitive sense for this. But so now, if I went to this crosshair where I have a canvas, and I want to drag in the health bar here for some reason, maybe the player health bar or something. So I search here for BBP health bar here. So here you can find the widget we created. If I drag it in, it will have this 200 by 50 size already as I drag it in, because that's gonna be the desired size of the health bar. So now if I want to change the size, like I could drag in here if I really wanted it. So as you can see, I can override the size if I want to. But probably don't want to do this. Like probably the artist or the guy who made this widget should be in control about the size of it. So like I'm gonna design my health bar to look good in one particular size. So when you're dragging it into the canvas like this, you probably want to do something like size to content. So if you check the size to content box, it will ignore the size of the canvas here, like the size you override with the canvas, and it will just always take the size of the widget inside of it. So that's going to be defined by the size box here. So now I can place it somewhere, and you know it will always look good according to the guy who made the widgets for the health bar. So now this guy can go in here and be like, oh, I want to make it be a little wider. Like I want to be like 400 in width instead. And I save that, then it's also gonna update in the canvas in here. So you know it will be consistent. You don't have to go into every canvas that uses a health bar and like manually resize it to be the correct size.
Can you add an additional scaler like above that in the canvas?
No, to like scale it up.
Yeah. To keep the same aspect ratio, but just scale it up.
You can go into transform and scale it by 2. It's kind of dangerous to do that.
All right.
But you could do that. So now you're scaling everything in this widget by 2. It will look kind of ugly because you know it will just literally scale the texture by 2, so you can see it's kind of blurry. But there are kind of other ways to do it, but they're a little bit complicated. But I'm gonna say yes, but not easily. Generally, if you want it to be twice the size, then you know this should be twice the size.
Yeah, artists love when you scale their assets, right?
What did you say?
Artists love when you scale their assets, right?
Yeah, exactly. When you use that non-uniformly, especially, they love that. When you just drag something in, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna aim the X direction, like, and it becomes like this horrible malformed thing. That's they love that. You'll be their friend for sure. All right, so cool. So that's sizes in widgets. So that's pretty good. I think honestly, I think the widget system in Unreal is really good. Like it's super easy to make it modular, to very precisely and easily define layouts and stuff like this. With desired size, I think that system is really good. Like obviously now I'm like explaining it and butchering it a lot, but in general, I think the widget system in Unreal is great. But it is very complicated, so it's okay if you don't understand it right away. All right, anyways, so now we have a size box here. So we have defined what we want the size of the health bar to be. If I go in here though, it's still sort of stretched out to be, you know, this size here, this draw size, 500 by 500. But there's this checkbox here that says draw at desired size. So if I check that, then now it is the size, you know, that the widget defined itself to be. I can probably scale it down though by setting these values here. If I think at least, maybe no. Okay, never mind. So then I have to. Oh, I have scaled it by 2 anyway, so I can just go ahead and scale it down a little bit. There we go. So now we have a health bar above this guy's head. Very cool. So now we probably want to update this health bar to work. Because right now, you know, if I play, like, it's not gonna be the most informative thing ever. The only reason it's the widget, by the way, is looking at us. As you can see, it is in world space, so it does get smaller. If I walk away from it, it gets smaller, and if I go closer, it gets bigger. So it's just like it's just a quad that's, you know, the widget is being rendered onto. And the only reason it's looking at me is because this guy is, you know, hard coded to look at me. But if I, you know, if I detach you can see that it's like it's just a quad again. Like it's just gonna be facing the forward vector of the actor. So I can look at I can look at this widget from really any angle, which is a little bit weird, I guess. Yeah. So again, it's literally just a quad. But anyways, I think it works fine. So let's make it work. So I'm gonna make a function in this widget to set the health. So I will just make a function. You can either make it here. We haven't actually talked a lot about, or anything at all about making functions in Blueprints. But I could either make it here in the event graph. So I could do like custom events, set health percentage. So I could make a custom event, is what this is called. To add parameters, I just go to the left here, and then we have inputs. So I can add parameters to our custom event. So like percent. Here I set the type, so instead of a boolean, I'm just gonna have a float. So now this is a custom event that takes one float as an input. So that's a function. Or rather, it's a custom event. So the nice thing about doing events like this is that you can use nice Unreal helper functions like delay, for example. So you can, when set health percentage is called, it will delay for a second, and then it will keep running here. You can do stuff like timelines, or any of the weird shit that Unreal comes with when it comes to the event graph. That's one way. Or you can make here in functions, because there's like a separate little tab here. You can also make an actual function. So if I hit plus here, now I'm making an actual function. And it's not like a huge world of differences between a function and a custom event. I guess the main one is in functions you can have return values. You cannot have return values in custom events. Also, you cannot call stuff like delay or anything like that. Any time sensitive Unreal functions like that, that plays with time a little bit. You can't call any of that from functions. And there's probably stuff I'm missing as well. But yeah, I usually just make functions. And if I really need to use delay, then I'll make a custom event. But usually, yeah, I'm getting away with functions. But yeah. So those are two ways of making functions in Unreal. You can also use macros, but let's not talk about macros because they're weird. I'll let you explore that in your own time. So I'll make a set health percentage. I'll remove this. Immediately it's causing me problems. So I'll do set health percentage, like so. And here I will take an input. So here you can see we also have outputs, so we can return values in our functions. So that's cool. We can also have multiple return values, which is nice. So in inputs, I'll just add percentage, like so. So on the widgets, we have this set health percentage that we can call, and that should update this progress bar to, update what the health percentage is. Yeah, it makes sense. Not very controversial. So we want to set this percentage here. So that's quite easy. I'm gonna just make sure that this bool here is set to make sure it is a variable. On some types it is default false, and then sometimes it's default true. On progress bars it's default true, so that's cool. I'm also gonna name it like health. Whoops. Health progress. Bar. Like so, and then here, if I go into the graph here, we see that in the variables we can find the progress bar as a variable. So I'll drag that out. and I will do set percentage, or send percent, I guess. So I will just call that on the progress bar. Cool. So now we have some code in the widget to update the health. So let's just quickly call it from the enemy, and then we'll take lunch. I will just on tick. I will just call like widget. So I'll get the widget reference from here. So this is the widget component, right? And to get the actual reference to the widget itself, we just do get widget. There it is, get widget. And this returns a user widget object, so we gotta cast that to our actual type of widget. So I will do cast. And then we want to cast it to enemy health bar. So this is exactly the same as doing cast in C++. And then since we know, so this is exec pins, you can see, right? So it has an exec pin in here, and then it has two outputs per exec. It has one if the cast succeeded and one if the cast failed. So this you can sort of check if the casting you try to do failed or not. But since we know that this is gonna be a WBP enemy health bar, we don't need to know about this, like if it failed or not. So I can just right click and do convert to pure cast. So then we don't get the exec pins, then we just get like a pure node. And then finally, I'm just gonna call set health percentage. There we go. And then percentage, it's just gonna be, I don't think we exposed, oh god. Did we expose health? I don't think we did. No, it didn't. Okay, I'll just U properties. U property. I'll make a blueprint, read only. Don't cause me problems. I wanna eat. Just compile. I wanna eat food. I forgot to record. Fuck! No, I'm still recording. Okay, thank god.
Will U properties work on protected like fields?
Yes.
Because I think Ryder gave me some errors. Maybe it was just private. I don't know.
Private is different. You need to do like special. I think it respects class like protectiveness. I think it respects that, but I'm not 100% sure.
Cool.
What if I cannot find corresponding variable? Oh, it's not blueprint. Oh my god. It's not blueprint. Read. Ah! Fuck enemy. Okay, if it doesn't work after this, then we'll just take lunch. No, it is blueprint read only. What the fuck? Why can't I drag this out? Cannot find corresponding variable. Make sure a component has been assigned to one. What the fuck? All right, whatever. I'll take a look at it during lunch. But yeah, we've gone over far enough. Let's take lunch, and then after this, after lunch, we'll just finish up the health bar, and then we'll do something cool. Any quick questions before heading off? Playing with the other kids.
I missed how you, or I didn't see what you did to like remove the execution pins from the cast.
You right click on it, and then you do convert to pure cast. So you right click. You might have to right click on the actual exec pins. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But just right click on the pins and then convert to pure cast.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, cool guys. Have a nice lunch, and I'll see you guys back 13:05. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.